Hello, I'm Frank Prem, and I'm launching my new poetry collection, Rescue and Redemption, today. That's it here. The paper book is now available through all the online sources, and the ebook will be released in a fortnight or so on the 30th of June. What I usually do with these videos is to read the original work. In this case, the Rescue and Redemption is based on the work of T.S. Eliot, particularly his poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, from back in 1915. And what I've been doing with this series, this trilogy of love poetry, is to use a portion of the poem and to take each line or phrase and to use that as an inspiration for a new piece of work of my own. And the three collections have come about in that way. Rescue and Redemption, focusing on Prufrock. Prufrock, for my purposes, comes in two parts. The first part is a 6-line epigraph that is written in Latin and taken from Dante's Inferno. Now, I'm not going to attempt to read Latin to you. It's hard enough for me to interpret my own work in plain English. So going into Latin is beyond me. But I've found a translation online, and I think that will do for these purposes. So I'll just read the translation, 6 lines in Latin from Dante's Inferno, and it runs like this. If I but thought that my response were made to one perhaps returning to the world, this tongue of flame would cease to flicker. But since up from these depths no one has yet returned alive, if what I hear is true, I answer without fear of being shamed. Now, I have interpreted those 6 lines for my writing purposes as something of a requiem, and that's how I've treated this first part of my own work. So I'll just read a couple of poems from Rescue and Redemption that are based on the epigraph for you. The first one is called Blather, and it comes from the line, if I but thought that my response were made. How could I explain the truth, my truth, so at odds with his? Sometimes I feel that I have lived too long, too overlong, and the words that form inside my mouth are ancient understandings. The times have changed, and he has no ears to hear such sentiments. And so I mumble crumbs of now stale cake, dry, difficult to swallow, until one of us must turn away, heart filled with misunderstandings. And we wonder, each of us alone, what just happened? He believed my answer was so much cant and so much blather. I believed with all my heart that I wished to be heard by him this once, this last time that I can love him. The second poem is Yesterday Never Does. It's taken from the line, to one perhaps returning to the world. Here's to you, my darling, here's to you. Ever since you left, I have found myself secluded, cotton-wooled, alone in a darkness of my own making. I could do this, or I could do that. I could so many things, other than hide away as I do in the darkness left behind you. For a time I hoped that you would come back to help fill the world around me. For a time I thought that yesterday lived on. It never does, and nor did you return into this world of I alone. Here's to you. Here is to darkness. Here is me. And one more in this small set. I'll do another reading another time from the body of Prufrock, of the poem. But this one is The Flickering Stilled, and it's still from that first epigraph section. It comes from the phrase, "This tongue of flame would cease to flicker." Always the flame has danced. I have danced along inside. The flickering is a sign of life, a glow. To dance within is a sign that reads alive, that reads living. It is the soul I speak of here, the soul that is the spark. It is the soul of me and the way I know I am one with all, with everything. But the flame is staring now. The flame is still, frozen in mid-flicker, no more tremoring, no more dance. And I am staring, and still I hold no flicker, and find the flame gone cold, a sculpture in colours correct, the shape perfect in contour, but frozen as my soul is frozen, empty of all warmth. I glance around. All else is blue and white and shadow. I'll finish there for this reading. Rescue and Redemption. Ready to rock and roll now. Thank you. I'll get this up on YouTube and invite you to have a little look from there.